welcome back to part 2 of Helen Pollard's incredible journey here on Leading Our Own Way. If you missed yesterday's episode, Helen shared how she transformed dyslexia and childhood chaos into entrepreneurial, I struggled saying that, entrepreneurial success. But that was just the beginning of her story, because today we're diving even deeper into the community and the collaboration that became Helen's secret weapons. You'll hear how she built networks that didn't just support her businesses, but became the foundation of everything she's achieved. This is more about than just making connections. It's about creating the family and support system that she never had growing up. Well, she did at the beginning. She had a great childhood. We're not going to dispute that. I feel that Helen's approach to building relationships and fostering that collaboration will completely change how you think about business community. Make sure you're described, because we've got one more part after this coming your way with part 3. Recently changed the layout, as you know. I'm going from 5 to 3 to test it out. Anyway, here's Helen.
So I've never really reconnected with Anna, which is really, yeah.
If Anna was to listen to this, then what would you like to say to her?
Oh, I just want to give her a big cuddle and just say to her, who cares about the past? I don't even want to talk about the past. I just want me and you to connect, and I want to learn all about you. I want to know what you've been doing. I'm getting goosebumps now. I want to know what you've been up to. Like, have you got kids? Are you married? I just don't know anything. And we did move to Australia, and we asked her to come. So that's another story. We'll get to the story about Australia soon.
Yeah.
But and she said, and she was planning to go on the RAF at this point. So she wanted to be an RAF pilot. She's highly intelligent, and she wanted to do that. She went, I can't do that in Australia. I want to do that. And she was already on her journey with that already. And this time we left when I left to come to Australia when I was just after uni. So what's that, 21, 22, 21, 23? Can't remember now. Early 20s. And so she was in her early, sort of just turned sort of 18, 19. So she's already sort of started to build her journey in carry on in England. So, it would be to just say to her, let us connect, and then for her to connect with my kids and my family, and then to hopefully get her to connect to mum.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Well, hopefully that could happen. Maybe it's through the podcast on another channel. Let's hope that happens. But with you, though, going back to the period of where you mentioned, having nice fancy takeaways, nice cars, and then all of a sudden we've come to the picture where you're hiding behind the door because the what do we call them?
Bailiffs.
Bailiffs, that's the word I was looking for. Bailiffs are at the door. They're two contrast images. How does the young Helen deal with that? The emotional side that go with it and the struggle, or are you just living in fight and flight? How's that Helen coping?
Living in fight and flight, I think I think when you've got these two beautiful little girls looking at you, it doesn't matter about anything else. And all I know that we had to keep the house. So it was just more the fact of these little girls are dependent on me, and we've just, if I fall apart or if I can't deal with stuff or if I can't, and that's why I'm saying to you earlier how I've really buried everything, because they've never had a relationship with Dad. Like, they've never had a relationship with him. So they can have that, Dad, Dad rejected us, or Dad, whatever. And I speak to them and I go, well, maybe that's the situation, but look at the life you've got now. Like, look at the positives now and look how we can learn from that. But I actually had a really strong relationship. I almost lost my father. Like, and he all of a sudden, he would follow me around. Sometimes like I'd leave school and he'd be in the car and he'd be crying, like, oh my God, your mum's saying this. And I'm like, Dad, I'm seeing it. I'm living it. I'm living with the bailiffs. I'm living with the amount of bills. I said, I'm actually see this. I said, are you really, really insulting me by thinking that I cannot see what's going on? And I said, you do know you do it. And at one point I went, you're doing it to me. Like, I'm Helen. I'm your first daughter. I said, never mind about the kids, never about them. I said, we've grown up together. I said, trying to, if he had a disconnect to the kids, to the girls, maybe I could reach out to him. And he just was so consumed about being, well, your mum's got the house and your mum's this and your mum's that. I said, yeah, but that's the house for the four girls. I said, that's not mum's living in this mansion, reaping all, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And
It was his house too.
yeah. But
Until
he
it went wrong,
cancelled,
I mean, one had to go, right?
yeah, but he cancelled the mortgage on the house
Yeah.
like 8 years before, something stupid like that, and was only paying the interest. So when this payment stopped, we didn't actually own the house.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd been in that house for 20 years. We should
Yeah.
have nearly owned it. But
So your
there
mum
was
got
just,
back on track with that, did she? Did you end up keeping the
yeah,
house?
she got, oh, no. And that's been a savior for moving to Australia and buying in Australia, because if we didn't keep, because we could have easily have just moved out and got a really small house and just, we were living, mum lived on the breadline for a long time, and to keep the house, because she knew that that was going to be her egg nest. That was going to be, she'd keep the repayments, and she was working 3 different jobs. And also, so when I finished school, I don't know how I got through. I got my all my GCSEs. I think I got 3 A's, 2B's, and 5C's. I was so proud that I actually got through it. And
Congrats.
then I went to college. I know. Woo. And then I got to college, and I got an A in art, a B in biology, and I think a B in geography. Very random. And got my A levels. I said, Mama, I said, I've got to go to art school. Like, I've got to, and the best art schools and the universities are not in Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
I've got to go. And I said, you and the girls are fine. You and the girls, like, I'm not going to go too far. So I didn't choose to go to a London school. I got into one of the London art schools, and I was like, nah, I went to Lancaster Uni. It was probably, and I like the north as well. I know it's more Lancashire, but I do like Manchester and Liverpool. But I knew I could just drive up with a drop of a hat. Mum said,
Yeah.
things are kicking off or something's happened. So I went to Lancaster Uni, but I'd come home. But most of my student loans went on,
The family.
like, my mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, supporting her, and just anything I could get, I knew I could get my hold of being a student.
Yeah.
I took it all out and said, right, pay for it later. But it was more just going and filling the cupboards. It was heartbreaking. But we got through uni, and I loved uni, and got a, and with having dyslexia and being told in, very young age, you'll never be academic. I remember one of my grade 3 teachers, Mrs. O'Connor, that's how I remember her name, Mrs. O'Connor. She said to my mum, Helen will never be, she'll never be academic, she'll never, but that's okay, because, I did ballet at the time. So I did RAD ballet, and I did actually get a scholarship to go down and do some in London and do some professional ballet, but we just didn't have the money to do it. But I loved my ballet. I did ballet since I was 3 until I was 16, and my dancing. I think that was sort of my release,
Yeah.
my release from
Escape.
my escape, and no one could touch me. And I was on the stage. I'd get all the leads. I just loved dancing, but concentrate on her dancing. And so now I'm so proud to say, like, I've got 3 degrees. I've got 2, a Bachelor of Art, Fine Art, and Theory and Practice. And then I moved on, and when I came to Australia, I did a Masters in Art and Public Places at RMIT in Melbourne. And that was around creating proposals and doing budgeting and timelines and doing big installations, and that's how I got into the art scene in Melbourne. And that's how I became curator, doing exhibitions and stuff like that. So and then I've also then did a master's in education. So I did my primary school education masters as well.
Amazing.
So yeah, I'm so proud to be able to say that, because I really wish I could go back to that teacher and say, all right, an academic slap.
Well, but it's not even about proving other people wrong. It's about proving yourself right, isn't it?
Yeah,
And that's exactly what you've done. So
yeah,
let
And I
that other
think
bit go. It's all good.
yeah,
You've
and
nailed it.
I think it's that drive as well, though, as well. And also, I think I saw that my mum had worked so hard to build her day nursery, and he really sabotaged it. Like, he would get, like, when my mum was still, we had the business when they were split up, he would call social services, he'd call environmental health. Like, just was just a circus. We were on the Northeast TV channel, was it the news?
Why?
No, something about a childcare getting this, and it was all around. People interviewing as they were walking in, and it was all scaremongering, and all from my dad, and so we went through a lot of just ups and downs, and so I think from my mum having everything to all of a sudden to we were walking nothing, to nothing. I think that is a huge drive in my, as you said, in going back to your first question, what's your drive with your entrepreneurship? It's
crystal clear now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my clear path. That's my clear goal. Is to always be in control, and but also as well to create the opportunities to be able to support other women that are going through it as well. And that's what we do with Art School. We, all artists who might be struggling, or they might be trying to do the art, but then they need to do jobs on the side. They come and do our training and become teachers as well, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And then when I finished uni, I was everyone goes back to home, don't they? I finished your degree. Where do you go? You go back home to your hometown and I go back to Middlesbrough. And my sisters were 7 and 11 then, and my mum's still struggling, and she was RGN qualified. She was doing her drug and alcohol. She was doing some consulting. And I said, let's go somewhere. Let's build a life somewhere else, Mum. I said, there's too many dramas in this house. There's too many memories. There's too many. So I got hold of her CV, and because she's highly qualified, it kept coming up Australia all the time.
Yeah.
Australia, like da-da-da. And I was like, well, I can actually do some teaching. I could do some art teaching or position myself like that. So it took us 6 or 7 months to get together the visas, and my mum got sponsored. And we had to go in and out of court, which was an absolute joke because my dad hadn't seen my sisters for about 5 years. That to permission to leave to take them out of the country, and one of the regulations was the requirements was that we had to give him our home address and a contact number and an email every time we moved, or every time, so he could contact them, and that he had that opportunity to, and never once came out to see them, never once contacted them. It was all a palaver in the court, crying, my daughters, my this. And as soon as we got outside, there was just nothing, no contact, nothing. But anyway, we came to Australia.
Sorry, just before you get on the plane, Helen, before you get on the plane to Australia, I want to fill in those gaps of the relationship between, because if my viewers are anything like me, they're going to want to know about the relationship with your father from maybe the point before you hit your GCSEs to the point of going to university, because I think that's important that you. Can we understand your relationship with your father at that point? What contact did you have with him? I know you mentioned about having those questions with him earlier, but you painted a picture where your relationship was quite close, and all of a sudden there's nothing. Did he try and contact you personally? Did he try and persuade you like he did the others?
No, 100%.
Yeah.
So it was just very, very, very frustrating to have them conversations with him when he would come, and because when we threw in and out the court to get custody, there was some visits because he worked away a lot as well, so he did work away for months on end, and then he'd all of a sudden pop up, and he'd just pop up in the most random places and just be following me, and it'd be like, okay, and like, right, okay,
follow you in a stalking sense.
Well, I think
I want to just make this clear to the viewers. This is obviously your side of the story.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to hurt or defame anybody. I just want to know, like, did you feel uncomfortable?
No,
did you feel weird?
He just didn't know how to. He just didn't know how to reconnect. I think as well, and but it's a bit of a shock when you're just walking home, or you're just, because he knew where my school, so obviously that was the first way, and he had a restraining order from the house, so he wasn't allowed anywhere near the house. So it would be. It would be mainly from school, and he was never ever abusive to me. there was never ever any psychological. It was more, I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
I was just so heartbroken. And I have thought about him a lot if I should reconnect, but the period between fighting in court and just seeing him in court, like fighting my mum, and just the lies and the drama, and I just and seeing what it was doing to my mum, and I could not keep that really strong bond and that relationship when I'm like, you're blatantly lying. You're blatantly lying to us, but you're blatantly lying to the court. I said, and also as well, you've got the time then the girls would have been 2 and 4, 5, 3 years between, to babies, to your girls, your kids. And then when he took Anna, that was just the last straw. Like that was just, and I remember the court saying you have to have access. So for years he had to have access. Great. Half the time he'd never rock up, so we'd get all ready, we have the girls all ready, they'll all be excited, daddy's coming. They were only little then, so they were probably 3 and 6 and 7, so they were like, oh, daddy's coming, we're gonna get, he spoilt them rotten. So as soon as he took them, they'd go shopping, and so he'd have his house, and they would have designer clothes and all these, upmarket toys, and they talk about all these amazing toys, but they had to leave it there. So then that, to a kid, to me, it's that trauma, and luckily they don't remember any of that. And I remember him not turning up, so I thought next time, and I had to be the mediator between this. Like he had a court order against my mum, so my mum couldn't be, and my dad couldn't be anywhere near my mum, so I would be, right, Sunday afternoon, got to be here, got to sort out the girls, make sure they're all sorted, and wouldn't rock up, and it was just devastating. So I wouldn't tell them after a while that he was coming.
Yeah.
So then if he did turn up, it was a great surprise, and it was they went away, but then they'd come back saying all these awful things like, oh, mummy's lying, or mummy does get money. I don't know why mummy says she doesn't get money. And I was like, oh, well, and mum would never, after everything that happened, Mama's never really said anything in front of the girls. We've said stuff.
Yeah.
Me and my mum have talked.
Yeah.
But my mum was very, very, because she's seen broken homes. She's witnessed it being a nurse, and she's done a lot of psychology stuff. And she doesn't want to. She never really said much in front of my sisters about my dad.
Yeah.
And even if my sisters, even when we were in Australia, asked about dad and stuff, she was always very just quite neutral, like, he's working, I'm sure he'll be in touch when he can. It was never, and I really respected that from mum, because it could have been very different. And I think also as well, a lot of her friends had gone through divorces as well, and there was that tit for tat and arguing, and the kids really suffer that in between. He did reach out to me when I was at uni, and he said, can I support you in uni? And he did support me with some accommodation costs for the first year, which was great. And they paid straight to Lancaster Uni when I was on campus.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of, I felt like that was sort of his little way of saying, and I think it stems back from his childhood. He grew up in Redcar, in a council estate, and he quite a really rough upbringing. One of 5 boys. His brother had committed suicide quite young, so he had a lot of. And his dad was an alcoholic. His mum never worked, so all on benefits and recovered the dole. But so I think he always had the aspirations that he wanted to get out of that, and
sounds
he was
like
always,
you.
yeah. So I am very similar to him, very, very similar in the drive, in the creative, wanting to better my life. But he just had something very twisted, or something not quite right with how to treat women, how to treat my mum. He would, when she wore something, I remember him making a comment like, you look awful. Like my mum's beautiful and she's always tall, slim, eats what she wants, never puts any weight on. You know, she's so everyone loves Bernie. Like everybody loves Bernie. And he would say she was ugly, and it was just because she would to bring her down, to bring her really would be really controlling and control what she wears and things like that. And to think about that today, if I told people that today about Bernie, they would go, nah, Bernie's not, no, Bernie wouldn't stand for that.
Yeah.
But when you're trapped and
Yeah.
you've got 4 little girls and the business is all tied, everything's tied together, your way out is you walk away with nothing. And she knew he was a narcissist and very can be very controlling, and it's all about him. And he was very offshore. Like we would like say we went out somewhere and my mum's family, you know, they've got a little bit of money but whatever, and he would like, oh, I'd pay for the whole meal just to be sure. It wasn't a show of I'm being really kind and want a really nice gesture, but I'll do it and just pay for it and not tell anyone. It would be like, oh, I've got this and I've got that, and you could see people being like sickened by it, and he'd show people his bank balance, you know, like, oh, look at this. And I remember he went on a trip, and we still don't know what happened on that trip because my uncles won't tell us, but they ended up leaving him and moving places, and just because he's just been I don't know,
Obnoxious.
sleazy, obnoxious, like, you know. And still today we don't know full stories, but I just wouldn't be surprised. But at the end of the day, I'm the one who had a really strong relationship, and I get a lot of things from him. So that was the hardest thing, is to accept what's happened and be grateful for the relationship that I did have and the life that I did have, because I had a beautiful childhood. Like we weren't for nothing. Like we went away and had beautiful holidays, and you know, everyone was always really jealous because we're always going away on these crazy fancy holidays, and then I get back and no one's had any money. Like no one's got any money. And then to have the drive I have now, he's made me have that.
Yeah, there's something good come from all of this. There is something else that I see a challenging in you, though, is growing up. You mentioned you had the 3 younger sisters, and there's an age gap. It must have been hard to feel like their mother at such a young age and not feel like their sister. Did that bring any issues for you?
Yeah, well, it's still even an issue now because they see me as being now the bossy Helen, or Helen always has to be right. But I'm like, because my group went when I was a kid. Yeah, I am very bossy. But I've had to learn from a very young age, like the age of 14, 15 really. Well, it was always me and my mum and the girls when my dad was working away anyway. So, you know, get up in the middle of the night. How many 14-year-old girls are getting up in the middle of the night bottle feeding? You know?
Yeah, of course.
Like, do you know what I mean? So my mum could have a break. So we'd take turns every night. Mum would have a night, I'd have a night. She'd be in the bed with me.
How old would you be at that point?
14.
14, sorry, you did say, yeah.
Well, I was 12 when Elizabeth was born, and then 14 when Lucy was born. But I had Anna around then. So me and my sister looked after my younger ones.
But you're going to school the next day knowing you've been bottle feeding.
Yeah.
You're like those pregnant girls in high school, essentially, but they're not your kids.
They're not my kids. And people would think they were mine as well. I remember being on the bus, this woman looking at me, you know, I've got my 2 sisters.
Yeah.
And she went, kids having kids. Like that. And was just really,
I looked around
and I went, yeah, I know, but look how cute they are. And just
playing it.
I just, what do I say? Like, oh no, they're not mine, they're my sisters. But like, you know, I just thought, whatever. It was just, you know, and me and my sisters are very close, but it is even now a bit of a sore point, a bit of a, like I had to, so it's a bit of a flip, but when we moved to Australia and my mum met a new partner, Barry, who became our stepdad, he at first would butt heads because mum would always come to me. So mum would always come to me for any issues, anything that was happening in the family. We'd always had each other.
Yeah.
So when Barry came into that, well, he's like, oh, my English Rose, my mum, my English Rose. he wanted to be that person. He wanted to be the male, the alpha, the person like, why aren't you talking to me? And in the end, it was time for me to actually go, and I was 24, 25 at the time.
Yeah.
It's time for me to go, let you guys have this.
Yeah.
You've decided you want to both move in together, and he had 2 kids as well. It's now time for me to have my life. I feel like you guys have got this. Like, that's when I moved out. When I went to RMIT uni. I moved in with some friends at RMIT uni. But it took me like, oh, why is she still living at home and she's 24? And I'm like, because we've just come to Australia. We've only been here like a year. And it's always been me and our mum. You know what I mean? He just didn't understand the dynamics because he hadn't been through it all. And yeah, we said snippets of stuff. But at the end of the day, you've got this new relationship that you want to foster. You don't want to go into the person with all the shit of the kids and, the fighting. And,
But he also needs to get to know you guys and understand and trying to understand, seek first to understand, then to be understood sort of scenario. It's important that if he's falling in love with this lady, he's got to, in a way, fall in love with the children too. Otherwise, this is never going to work.
Yeah.
Is your mum and Barry still together?
They've recently just split last year.
Okay. Well, I am obviously sorry for that, but it's probably a good thing if he's going to listen to the podcast. No.
Yeah, so we have they have separated ways, and it's the best thing that could happen. And I think for both of them as well. He just wasn't the right person, and
how long?
They've been together for 18 years.
Yeah, wow, it's a long time, isn't it?
A long time, a very, very long time, but enough's enough. And there was a lot of struggles there. It's still very raw, and in that sort of my mum's sort of story, and I've sort of supported her through that. But that's a whole different scenario as well.
Sorry, let's go back then to the difficulties of landing in Australia, being in Australia, starting this whole new life. You've got the 2 younger ones. Anna's not here. The other 2 are with you. They are how old when they get here? When you all get here?
7 and 11.
So 7, 11, and you're 24.
I think I was 24.
23, 24.
Yeah, because I've been here nearly 21 years. So 22.
Yeah, okay. So you're still quite young, and you've had a bit of a full-on life up until that point. Already kind of been a mother. And did you continue being that mother in Australia as well?
Oh, 100%. So as soon as we got here, Mum had a job and went straight to work. So I was the main caregiver at home again. I got a part-time job just in a bar, working nights, so then I could get up in the morning, take the girls to school. I did a bit of volunteering at the school in the art department, just so I could get some connections in because I knew I always wanted to do that, be an art teacher or whatever. And then I would be there to pick them up from school. So I could only ever work on an evening doing bar work or doing restaurant work to start with. I brought my sisters up here, but we loved it here. We'd go away, we'd go to the Migration Road, we'd go to the beach. Like,
that's where I am.
This is the best story. We've got so when we finally got offered all these jobs in Australia, Mum said yes, came out to Australia, and we'd only ever seen Neighbours and Home and Away really, and we didn't really do our research. And we arrived in Melbourne in April, and it was raining and it was freezing. So we only packed summer stuff. We didn't left all our winter stuff in storage back in England.
Typical Brit.
Oh my God. And when we got there, Mum's like, I think we've got off at the wrong stop. She was like, this is not Australia. And we actually, I know, it's so funny. I'm like, no, like, we obviously, and then I started doing my research, because we researched this Australia by getting a book out in Australia, and it was like the cultural capital of Australia is Melbourne. And I knew I want to be in the arts, and Mum could work anywhere being a nurse. So I was like, no, I want to establish the art connection. And it said cultural capital, you've got the Fashion Week, you've got Grand Prix, you've got the tennis. So I knew all like what would happen in Melbourne. Like, I was excited for all the events, but it was not anything about the weather. It doesn't say Melbourne rains, cold, like, you know.
No, why would it? It's not. That's not selling milk,
And
Australia, is it?
I think I did read Four Seasons in one day, but didn't think anything of that. So we came and so we've got a picture of us. Which I should have sent you. The first week we were here, we landed and we got bussed out into a shared house with all nurses that newly arrived, and so a lot of Irish and a lot of English there. And it was in Yarraville, and I actually now live in Yarraville. So it's really spun around. And the first school my sisters went to, my little boy goes to.
No way.
Yes, in Yarraville West Primary. So I used to take them 21 years ago to Yarraville West Primary. And why was I telling you that for? Because Mum was freezing, absolutely freezing. So she ended up going to the charity shops and was wearing this like big hoodie, Nike hoodie. You know, like I haven't seen her wear since, like, you know, I've never seen her wear a big Nike hoodie. And we've got a picture of us on Williamstown Beach in April, all in our bathers, and the kids are running out of the pool sport and it's freezing. But no, we're in Australia. We are going to be on the beach.
Oh god.
We obviously soon learned, and we obviously, you know, adapted, and we love Melbourne. We've been here. We came in 2004. We said we'd come for 6 months, and I sold the package to my mum. I'm like, we go for a year, you put a year career break in at your hospital. We rent out the house for a year. You've got your 4-year visa. We come over. We hate it. We move back. You've got your house and your job. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
And within 6 months. We went, we're going to go for permanent residency, and we got our permanent residency, and then a couple of years later we got our citizenship and went for our citizenship. So
it's funny you bring up the weather thing though, because I remember my first winter here, we lived in an apartment, and the balcony door was open and the heating was off because we'd come from Manchester, so I felt winter was all right here. I didn't think it was cold. And then the second winter, the balcony door was closed, but the heating was still off. And then the third winter is when everything closed and the heating was on. And now we've just lived like that ever since. And we've been here 13 years.
I hate the cold. And I was like, you're English, you should be used to this.
You
and
should
I'm
be,
like,
especially for Middlesbrough. It's even colder than Manchester.
It's freezing. It's so cold. Like we snow. Like we got snow. So it's just crazy. So
I jump in cold water every morning. So when I go out to schools now and it's cold in the morning, everyone's freezing. I'm like, oh yeah, I jumped in 70-degree water this morning. I'm good.
Oh.
So with being in Australia, how did then that back? Obviously, you've got a life still back in England, with especially with the difficult times with the dad, the father. I remember in our chat that you mentioned something about being in court in Australia as well, and having to talk back in the UK. What was that about? Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.